less reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to WUB. And all the things that must be happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB, get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not so we no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WUB, wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB, be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WUB. And all the things that must be happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB, be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. All right, welcome. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize, the morning vibes on this 8th day of the 8th month of 2025. It's a Friday morning and we welcome you to the program this morning. I am Nuri Muhammad. As you know, we go through certain steps before we get into the main course. We do have a guest coming in a little bit after the time check this morning. But we go through our weather report. This morning it's from Miss Catherine Kamabach. Miss Kamabach.
Good morning, Belize. A light easterly airflow prevails. In the 24-hour forecast, skies will be sunny with a few cloudy spells today. High temperatures are expected to be 88 Fahrenheit along the coast, 94 inland, and 82 in the Maya Mountains. Tonight, skies will be partly cloudy, shower activity will be isolated. Low temperatures are expected to be 80 Fahrenheit along the coast, 74 inland, and 68 in the higher elevation. Winds will blow from the east at 5 to 10 knots and the sea state will be slight. A high tide will occur at 8:56 a.m., followed by a low at 4:20 p.m., another high at 10:19 p.m., and a low at 3:22 a.m. The sun rose at 5:33 this morning and will set at 6:22 this evening. The moon will rise at 6:12 this evening and will set at 5:46 tomorrow. The outlook for Saturday and Saturday night is for mainly fair weather with isolated showers and a few more south during the night. Taking a look at the sargassum forecast, satellite and surface observation continue to show large amount of sargassum over our area. As a result, coastal destinations, especially the northern half of the country, will continue to be impacted during the next few days. In the tropical weather outlook, tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the next 48 hours in the North Atlantic Basin.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
There was a report earlier this week that the High Court had granted an estimated $300,000 in damages and legal costs to the wife and children of now deceased convict 68-year-old Jandara Rahman Mahdi Abadi, who died while serving a 6-year sentence for abetment to murder. Abadi, a resident of Belmopan, who suffered from uncontrolled diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and uncontrolled hypertension, passed away on August 31st, 2019. The following year, the family sued the Attorney General and the Superintendent of Prisons, who operates under the authority of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Justice Tawanda Handora ruled that Abadi died due to wrongful acts of the prison, which had an obligation to treat and to provide medication to prisoners or relieve them or refer them to outside treatment if they are unable to provide the appropriate health care. Justice Handora deemed those acts to have been grossly negligent. As it turns out, the case concluded with a confidential out-of-court settlement as recorded in the judgment handed down on June 16th this year. Therefore, while a figure has already been publicized, Leroy Banner, the attorney for the Abadi family, told Creme News and XTV that he cannot confirm it as the parties have agreed to keep it confidential. Prime Minister John Briceño yesterday finally announced the new ambassadorial appointments, and there are some significant changes. The new ambassador to Taiwan is Catherine Main, replacing Dr. Candice Pitts. Nestor Mendez, as has been previously rumored, will be Belize's ambassador to the United States. Joshua Pott will join him as Minister Counselor. Janine Koi Felsom will be the permanent representative to the United Nations, and former CEO Kendrick Williams will join him as deputy. Lou Ann Burns will now be Belize's ambassador to El Salvador, while Prilita Aldana will take up representation in Cuba. Dr. Henry Canton will be the ambassador for trade to CARICOM, and Alfonso Gohona and Aisha Borland have been named ambassadors at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Remaining in their positions are Sherry Nesbitt, currently the High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Oscar Arnold, Ambassador to Mexico, Jose Alpuche, the Ambassador to Guatemala, Janina Avila, Ambassador to Belgium and the EU, Gail Miller Garnett, High Commissioner to Guyana, and Lawrence Sylvester, non-resident ambassador to CARICOM. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the global trade tourism industry currently, thanks to the global tariff war initiated by US President Donald Trump. The US has also been cracking down on immigration violations, and many people in the diaspora of numerous countries are afraid of traveling outside of the United States currently. Still, despite the uncertainty, the Honorable Anthony Mala told media yesterday that Belize's arrival numbers, particularly those who enter via the Philip Golson International Airport, have been holding steadily. He said that there has been an increase in visitors from Canada and Mexico.
In terms of our traffic to Belize, we've held our numbers. May and June were a little bit soft. July we rebounded robustly with almost 10% increase over last year, and last year was a very strong July as well. And we believe that we will continue with our momentum going into the high season coming up, especially when we build capacity, when these flights are put in place actually on the ground, right? We've seen an increase in Canadians coming. We've seen an increase in Mexicans coming, and so we will continue to work in South America. I think Central America right around us creates a great opportunity for us as well. The problem is air connectivity.
The Minister of Sport, Honorable Anthony Mala, also told the media that he and his team take sports seriously and promised that with their leadership and new vision, sports will finally make a leap in the country. He outlined some key pillars that they will focus on and emphasize that big changes will come to the ministry.
Minister Daly and I have like 4 key pillars. Education, we believe that the disciplines can provide a vehicle for education. For economics, meaning that a small portion of our people can play semi-pro ball, can make some money, can go pro if they go to the next level. Civic pride is important because whenever you have the flag on your chest and you're representing an area, that is important for us. And then the last one is health. We believe that those 4 pillars will be important for us in terms of moving the disciplines forward. We've been in the job for just a little bit over 4 months. We've made some changes within the National Sports Council, and we'll continue to do so. We've sat down with the Prime Minister and the other members of Cabinet and presented a paper on where we want to take sports. And so within the next few months, you will see some of those things being rolled out. So we take the youth and sports thing very, very seriously, and but we have to blow up everything and start over pretty much. And I'm being honest. I mean, all kind of people and say all kind of things, but it has not been working. When we lose 13-1 to Costa Rica, that's not a good feel for the nation. That's not a good look. So the people play sports, and it's just how you set up the programs and the systems for us to be able to compete. I don't believe in just participating and taking a beating out there on anywhere in whichever discipline you want to go. We have to be able to compete. So we want to ensure that our athletes have the right programs and the right systems that they can thrive.
Jason Mendez was named the new director of the National Sports Council, and Mala spoke on what he brings to the table.
Well, leadership is always important in anything, no? If you have mediocre leadership, that's what you get throughout the organization. If you don't have really, really strong people to support. But I think that we're headed in the right direction. I think Mr. Menzies brings a wealth of experience in the public service and also a discipline a level of discipline that we need in the organization. There were too many loose ends, and I believe that he brings the right mindset to ensure that things are always done in the right way.
For this morning, the 8th day of August 2025, there is more news coming up in the program that follows us. That is the Morning Stew. That comes up a little bit after 12. There's an update at 3 o'clock and a full news broadcast at 5:15. All this on CREM Radio. Here on XTV, we bring you the full news broadcast at 6 o'clock. And, that includes, of course, the optics and the in-depth look at all of our news items. It's 15 minutes now to 7 o'clock. We take a short break. We come back. We'll open the phone lines. And as I said, we do have guests coming in later on. Stay tuned.
Informative, accurate, current information. CREM's newscast. Local, regional, and international news. Weather and sports.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and a host of other exclusive contents. Number 1, go to Amandala's website. Number 2, navigate to subscribed areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
Oh man, one more scroll and my data is done.
Wait, who said anything about running out? Smart just dropped a more powerful plan that now includes social media data, so you can scroll till your fingers cramp. Visit any Smart showroom to sign up today because connectivity just got even better. Smart, bringing people together.
Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Friday morning. I'm Nuri Muhammad in the seat, the driver's seat, the what you call the traffic officer seat this morning. So our phone lines are open, and the numbers here 280-5848. You're welcome to call in. We have a little over half hour to engage in conversation before our guest comes on. 280-5848. Let me start by congratulating the named ambassadors. Many names were floating around even before it was publicly announced, and so now we can say congratulations to all of those who have been appointed ambassadors. A very expensive project. Quite a bit is expended every year to house and to capacitate these ambassadors around the world. We are yet to see specifically in dollar figures what benefits we are getting from it, but most and all countries, I think, have ambassadors as far spread as they can, and most ambassadors are the face of our country in the particular country that they are doing their ambassadorial responsibilities. And in most cases, it is to serve as the conduit or connection for those who may want to engage with the country through trade, through education, through visits, through tourism, etc. You start with the ambassador so that you could get a feel for what you're dealing with if you come into the particular country. Ambassadors can also be advocates. They can go out and try to advocate for particular positions that the country has taken internationally or regionally, etc. So your ambassador is a very important person and should be taken care of so that they don't become vulnerable to any kind of corruptive move to get into your country. Many people have said it's a very high-flung position, it's very expensive. These people are given nice apartments, nice places to live so that they could give the right impression. And so that's what it is. However, there are some who are already working in a particular area. They already have their own salary, and so they only take the ambassadorial post as a position and as a title, not necessarily to draw on the economy, Belize's economy, for their survival. And then you have another class, excuse me, another class known as consular generals. These persons are not necessarily ambassadors. They play a kind of an ambassadorial role, but they are consulars which the government uses as their connection with that particular country. One of the main jobs of a ambassadorial position is to take care of your citizens in that particular country, so that if your citizens are in need of any support, many times it's getting your passport cleared or your social security cleared or land issues cleared, you usually go to these ambassadorial positions or these consular positions to try and help you navigate. So it's a very important position. As I said, many people criticize it as being a big overspend for poor countries. Sometimes there's a combination, and I can't understand this for quite some time, that since we have a CARICOM, if we couldn't simply have CARICOM cutting down the costs, sharing the costs, and having representatives in a wider span, as opposed to Jamaica having their own, Guyana having their own, etc. It's just a thought that has come to mind, because this CARICOM concept, this CARICOM idea has been floating and has not, in my opinion, been fully utilized in the concept, the original concept of Chacaramos. Anyway, Another area of congratulation would be to my brother Chester Williams, who has been doing a very aggressive move in his new position as as CEO in the Ministry of Transport. And particularly the area of big trucks and carrying these heavy loads on the road. If you've ever been caught up in one of those traffic jams where these huge loads, sometimes it's most of the time it's a house, but sometimes it's other loads, and how they block up the road sometimes for miles behind. And so we're glad to know that the Ministry of Transport is doing something about that. Moving at night can also present its own dangers, but at night clearly the traffic is reduced to a minimum, and so it's better to move these heavy loads at that time. But there also needs to be some kind of regulations so that these truck drivers and these people, the load, because they have to have the front vehicle and they have to have the back vehicle that accompanies these heavy loads, there needs to be a regulation that enforces them and making sure that they must, over a 15 or 20 minute period, move to the side of the road and allow the traffic to float or to pass from behind them. Because I have experienced it as much as a half hour waiting, slowly inching behind these heavy loads. And that's unconscionable, that is disrespectful to the rules of the road. You cannot look back in your rear view mirror and see miles and miles and miles and miles of vehicles behind you, and you have no sense, no conscience to say, well, make a move to the side and give these vehicles an opportunity to move by. So I'm glad that the Ministry of Transport is finally becoming aggressive in this matter, and it's been a long time problem, believe me. For years that has been a problem of these large houses moving from the west in most cases to different parts of the country. Our number here is 280-5848, 280-5848. And motorcycles. Attention is being given to motorcycles. If you remember when Mr. Williams was the Commissioner of Police, he was very, very critical about motorcycle drivers, and not only in the issue of the area of crime, but just the amount of accidents that we were having, the ways in which these motorcycle drivers maneuver in the streets. I mean, it's really crazy, and it is good that some kind of attention, direct attention, is being paid to that area, because it's not only a danger to cyclists themselves, but it is also a real problem for regular drivers. So our numbers here is 280-5848. It looks as though you will leave me to a monologue this morning, which is not a problem. You know, we always come with our list, so to speak, but it is not about a sermon. It's about a conversation. And so, and by the way, I want to welcome my cousin, my beloved cousin, Kay Simon, attorney Kay Simon, who is passing through, I would say. She was Belize's former representative, as I was talking about ambassadorial positions. She was Belize's former representative in the Eastern Caribbean, and was housed there in Grenada. So welcome Kay Simon, and we hope that the time you're spending home, you'll enjoy your brief stay. Another area that struck me in the news is the lawsuit against the prison And there have been several, and I believe that there will be more. It's an area that needs regulation. It's an area that has been left alone to regulate itself. And it is after many, many years of complaints. Many of them have just been local complaints, complaints on the radio and TV, talk shows, a couple of editorials have criticized conditions there. But now it's beginning to become a issue of lawsuits. And within our environment, we have found that the only thing that really, really moves us is when the matter is taken to court. And that's why you've seen we've had an explosion of litigation over the last 10, 15 years, because Belizeans are finally waking up to this thing named Sue. Sue was always living in America, but Sue now has visited Belize. And right, left, and center, the Ministry of Health is sued, the prison is sued, the police is sued, the government in general is being sued. And so there is more litigation now coming from the citizens of Belize. And this particular matter here, where this man, according to the news report, had diabetes out of control, as it's said in the news report, and also uncontrolled hypertension. He was a sick man. And according to the judgment, the prison did not provide him the necessary care. That's a big issue. It's a big issue because if you are committed to the prison and you are sick, it then becomes the state's responsibility to keep you alive while you're serving your time in prison. It is not the state's or the prison right to say, well, you better find out how you want to get cured, because we only got a limited budget as to how our medicine can back here. So if you sick beyond our capacity to help you, you are just half dead. That can't be. And so this lawsuit is a shot across the bow of the government, of the prison, of everyone concerned with the death of this person while incarcerated. There are many other persons behind the prison walls that have sickness that needs attention. But because they don't have the kind of vocative that this gentleman obviously had by having an aggressive wife, an aggressive family who moved towards trying to address their perceived wrong, this issue here is affecting many inmates who are poor, who are behind the prison walls and who need medical and psychological attention, but because of the limited budget and the Tylenol type of dispensation project that you have there, people are not really being addressed. But as again I say, that these matters, injustice can be taking place all around us. But these injustices don't surface until they become a public issue in the arena of the courts. It's when the courts begin to look at the details of a particular situation that we all of a sudden become alarmed at, we never realized this happened. It was happening and it is happening. And so this case of this family being awarded as much, and as we said in the news report, nobody wants to officiate it. Government, of course, doesn't want to admit it. There's apparently a confidential clause in the agreement that even the family will not come forward and acknowledge exactly how much they were awarded. The attorney, Mr. Leroy Banner, also has declined to give any answer in regards to the financial amount. But clearly, it is in the media that it is as much as $300,000. That is a huge, huge award for wrongful death. And you know, this story brings up so many issues here, because who decides the value of a human life? Who decides that Mr. Abadi's life is worth $300,000 and John Yusuf from George Street, that for his life no worth nothing because he old anyway? This man is 68, John, he old anyway. Nobody don't know, huh? He dey back of prison, he's sick, and you're dead. He has no value. But Mr. Abadi has a value of $300,000 awarded by the court. Now, if a case had been brought by Johnny and Johnny's family to the justice, maybe a justice like Condora would have said that Johnny is worth $300,000 too. I doubt it. Because when you come from a certain area and you're impoverished, you come from a certain socioeconomic background, your value as a human being becomes less. Even though you may be born the same day and same time as another person in another situation, that same judge that judged that you are a $200 or you're a $2,500 human worth can judge that this individual, same man, same human being, same blood, same bond by God, but this one you have the value of $300,000. So that is an issue of great significance when it comes to our judgments too. I'm switching over more from the prison to general judgment. You have people who are being knocked down. I know a particular case that comes to my mind right away. The man was sitting on the sidewalk and he get knocked down. And the judgment after several years was that his life value was $2,700. $2,700 was what the driver who was arrested with, what they call it, manslaughter by neglect or negligence, and that charge, ultimately after a long period, he had to pay $2,700. So the value of your life is not equal. So how does a judge decide on that? Anyway, our number here is 280-5848, 280-5848, and you're welcome to call in. I'm just musing over some of these points that have been in front of me, and I said that I would bring it forward when I get an opportunity to. But these are matters that concern us. These are matters that we talk about regular with each other. These are matters that we surface. The value of life, is a big question, and how we look at life, what affects us about life. We as a country was one of the first to come forward and to talk strongly about what is going on in the Gaza. But today, even though that atrocity and genocide continues, it's almost not spoken about at all. And it can't be that we value the life of those children from what we saw after October 7th and the atrocities not only of the Israelis, but just the general atmosphere of carnage that took place in that area. We generally, looked at it and we were upset. We thought that the Israelis needed to be called to check. And so we came out in the streets. We protested. We use this forum and other forums to call them out and to call out the United States, to call out the Europeans for allowing the Israelis to go as far as they have gone and are still going. But today, it's almost as if, oh, that was something in the past or something that not happen again, even though it is still happening as we speak. And even worse, I heard yesterday that Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel, saying that they are now going to occupy Gaza. And that has been the narrative from the very beginning, that they are trying to clear out the Gaza so that they can repopulate the Gaza. When I think Trump went as far as to say, turn it into a Riviera, which is a place in Europe for tourists. Now Netanyahu is moving from just theory to an actual policy statement that they are going to occupy, if given the opportunity, they are going to occupy, meaning we have completed driving out those millions of people, Palestinians that were living there. We've pushed them out, and now we're going to reoccupy that area. The world is saying, oh yes, okay. So it's an interesting time that we're living in, and what affects us, and maybe it's only when trouble comes to my door I'm really overly concerned. It's only when my people, then I will say, well, how you will just say we only work $2,700. But when somebody else, I don't know, that might be not my business. So we have come to that point of life, in the life, that empathy is scarce. I'm too concerned about my own situation. I can't really afford to spend too much time to worry about you, because managing my situation is a real trying situation. So it's the life that we're living today, and it is not a depressing life, it's not a terrible life, it's just the reality of the life. And it is something that we have to be able to manage. We can't force people to care. How do you grab somebody and say, you need to care, you need to be more concerned? How do you do that? So these are sobering thoughts. These are thoughts that come to us all the time, and we try to navigate it as we deal with each other, and we say, well, you know, we ought to be a little bit more concerned about this, or we may be concerned about that. Anyway, numbers here, and I keep reminding, 280-5848, and you are welcome to call and to engage and to be a part of our discussion this morning. Again, we always want to acknowledge the effort being made when we see something that is positive. And another thing that I've noticed here is what the Minister Anthony Marler said yesterday in regards to his vision of transforming sports into the country. And I wish he had also talked a little, or that it was recorded what he said about youth, because his responsibility is not only tourism now, it's both youth and sports. But his focus yesterday, or at least the part that our news focused on, was his vision about sports. And I take what the Minister Marler was saying very serious, because he has been a person who has made a difference in his ministry. He has brought his ministry into the forefront as a main money earner in the country. But besides that, in his constituency, he brought the promise that was made, almost a 15-year to 20-year promise, that something would be done with Berger Field. He came in, and in a matter of months, Burgerfield is where it is today. And if he can do with the Ministry of Sports that type of proactive movement where you can see results in a period of time, then yes, kudos to Mr. Mala for his vision and what he's going to do. And in terms of his predecessor, and I think the criticism was well deserved. Nothing going on in that area, even though I think that Mr. Ferguson was genuine, whatever was going on, it was not being positively managed. And so you had all these embarrassments that were coming out of the Ministry of Sports, and the very way in which the Ministry of Sports was being looked at was like as a defunct, embarrassing organization, organized part of the government that was not giving the result that everybody's been expecting. So if Marla can get in there and make it different and begin to produce some results, well, then we'll look forward to that. All right, our number, as I said, 280-5848, and you are welcome to call in and to make your contribution. Mala is also responsible, as I said, for youth, and if he has the vision to do with youth what he plans to do with sports, then youth will finally get the attention it deserves. Because again, youth have been placed on the back burner. And it is a tragedy when you think about that, because our youth is the majority of our population. Our youth is not our future. Our youth are now. And the investment that we put into our young people cannot be just in formal education. And we say, oh, the majority of our national budget goes to education. The majority of our national budget goes to salaries and administration and infrastructure of education. But in terms of advancing the education agenda in our country, very little investment is put there. We are still dependent, firstly, on an elitist approach to education, where those who get the highest mark are at the front of the class and those who get the lowest mark stay behind. Even yesterday I was talking to someone who was telling me about some teachers that decide just by observing that child, I guess what, oh, this one, this no alarm. And right at that first level there, begin to discriminate that child into certain sections of the classroom or even in the school itself. Oh, you got this slow one there. And so if we don't change that approach in terms of teaching our children or teaching our teachers even how to deal with those children seem to be difficult to learn, then we're marginalizing and scapegoating a good amount of our young people by naming them hard to learn. But our educational system in general needs to be looked at in terms of what are these projected goals that we have been trying to aim at over the last 20 years, and how much have we been able to achieve them. The IT vet, which is still very relevant throughout the Caribbean. Why? Because we've realized a long time ago that our education leaned more towards this clerk type, business type curriculum, and not enough towards trades, and not enough towards engineering, not enough towards building and industry, and that we needed to change that around. And this is not only a Belize issue, it's a Caribbean issue when you read upon it, that we the British was preparing us to work for them. We were not preparing us to work for ourselves. So what did they need in us? After slavery, they needed clerks. They needed people who would handle the offices and be able to help with the continuation of their domination in this area. They didn't need tradesmen, they didn't need farmers, they didn't need individuals that would go out there and build the areas. And so the focus of our education has got to be about preparing the youth for the kind of skills that we have envisioned will be needed for the future, and begin now in working towards that. And that's why the ITVETs become essential, because we can't give every one of our graduates a job. And so we have to begin to prepare them and capacitate them from very early how to do their own job. And if we can see people who come into this country and take advantage of opportunities that is right in front of us, as I spoke yesterday about when will you see us forming groups? When will you see our wealthy people here? And don't believe that we are all poor in this country. That's another mistake we make. That when we say black people, oh, all of we depend south side and all of we got we hand out. There's some very wealthy, very, very wealthy black people in this country, north, south, east, and west. Not only are they landowners in terms of real estate, but they got money in the bank, at home and abroad. But if I got $1 million in the bank and you got $1 million in the bank, the only relation me and you have is riding by our expensive vehicles or the expensive vehicles of our family. And I live in that and you live in that. But your wealth and my wealth and building a wealth that will ensure that others will benefit from that wealth, we don't think like that. And we don't seem to even think about it in terms of multiplying our own personal wealth. Because I'm sure that these groups of companies are not formed so that they can help Belize. They're formed because they're taking advantage of multiplying their own wealth based on opportunities that they see. That is what that hotel at Hanover is all about. That's like a 20-year project. That's recognizing that Belize is increasingly going to become a very popular spot, and people may not want to go all the way into Belize City if they can get their hotel right there, beautiful area, and then go into Belize City as they want, etc. These people are thinking 20 years down the road. And just yesterday we were talking about what used to be there before. You may not be old enough to remember when that project there was a public service union project. This must have been about maybe 30, 40 years ago, where the public officers got together, formed their little company, and then they built one little motel. Unfortunately, the motel became a little house. Welcome, caller.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nuri.
Yeah, walaikum assalam, my brother.
I just want to put my 2 cents and my personal opinion. Nobody have to believe me or accept me.
Uh-huh.
But I watched for many, many years that it's a common country which calls itself a superpower. And it's the same country that calls itself a friend of everybody. Bob Marley say your best friend is your worst enemy. Because the same country provided weapons and everything to the neighbor country, which is constantly threatening our country beliefs. But they get supply of all ammunition and everything that we don't. Repeat, your best friend is your worst enemy. The same country are pretending now that they are trying to make peace in the USSR to stop the war, but yet they hasn't make one single step up the genocide in Palestine. It's simply obvious to those people that have common sense and understanding that that country that calls his friend is their worst enemy. Because he don't want to do nothing in regards to that. He don't even mention, don't care about that. Because he already knows that everything that happened in smaller nations is his plan. That's my opinion when it comes to that. And to wrap, going back home to Belize, is a very famous friend of mine, and maybe you know the person too, and many others, but I actually no call no name. He is very good in the banking system and anything that is finance. And in one occasion, he wanted to create a credit union, and we talked to us and everything. But after a few tries or a few weeks that trying the credit union, he came back and tell me, I consulted the rich men of Belize. He was referring to the Creole men that have money of Belize, and they tell him plain that they don't want to get nothing to do with anything with black people. What a shame. Salam alaikum.
Okay, wa alaikum salam. Yeah, I wouldn't paint the brush so broadly. I don't want nothing to do with black people. But if we speak frankly, we have been some of our worst experiences with each other. And there's a whole saying of once bitten, twice shy. But that's life. And we have to be careful of our cultural attitudes when it comes to that. I remember the great Tony Brown, the late Tony Brown, said that there's a pattern that he has observed in the African American consumer. And I'll say it after this. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Nuri.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yesterday I called you about that situation with the young man and the credit union.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What I am saying is, should other young men go to after some sort of reform, and they want, they get a job and they want to work money book, and then go to the credit union, they will be turned away as well.
But I don't understand what you said, brother. And maybe I could repeat it so that if I got it wrong. I thought I heard you say, just tell me if I'm wrong. You said that there's a young man who has got into some problems when he was younger, but he has reformed his life. He has been on the straight path. And he wants to go and open up a credit union account.
Yes.
And he is being told that he needs a police record.
They didn't even tell him that. It seemed like they did the search themselves.
Oh, they gone, take a name, gone and do the police research.
Yeah, they told him to come back at a certain time.
All right. And when he came back, they tell him that.
They tell him that he can't open it because he has all these previous things.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, this is the first time I'm hearing it. That's why I'm repeating it, because maybe somebody else could call and say. I didn't know. I didn't know that if you had a prison record, for example, that you can't have a bank account or you can't have a credit union account. I didn't know the two went together. I didn't know, why.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just saving your money there, So.
Yes, I don't know. That's strange, right? So yeah. I just wanted to make an announcement about this so that people are aware.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a mistake with somebody's part there.
And this is a well-known. I think we avoid the name, but this is a well-known credit union.
Oh yeah, the biggest one.
All right, let's not go to the name. I just want to know, because
I
will call after the show and try to understand it myself. It does sound strange.
And the guy wanted to make a little money and it's legal way, and he wants to save his money.
Yeah, but it's just a savings account.
Yeah,
it's a savings account.
He wants to secure his money, and it's going home every day, and then have your money bought the house, and then look, you'll lose it by from burglary.
Yeah. I don't, just in my, like I say, I'm on call after the show to get the clarification, because you said if it's a established credit union, there must be some reason why they take those precautions. But it's just my mind is asking, well, what could a person be doing?
For the record, one marijuana charge that he pleaded guilty to, and then he got expunged.
Yeah. Yeah, but if he's already paid his due to society for the crime that he committed.
The other little charges, he was never convicted.
Yeah. It's hard to understand, sir, but I will call and I will check it out.
Yeah,
all right?
Thanks.
All right, good. Okay. All right, we don't have time to continue my monologue this morning, so we'll stop for 2 Cents Scam, presented by Brick City and sponsored by 4 Point Security. And as I said, after the break, we have our guests coming in, and I still don't announce it. She's here already. All right, good. So we have Miss Lucia Ellis will be our guest today, and we're really looking forward to an engaging conversation with her this morning. Stay tuned for the break.
You're watching WUB, this is XTV, big up the 4 Point Security, big up Friday. Let's go big up the people name.
Big up everybody for Belize and expect all the man, big up he's straight true.
Alright.
Big up everybody for Belize here, but just big up man, straight true.
Blessed to the Ray-Ban family, I don't know. My family, one love.
Good say.
Big up Friday, who you want big up? Big up everybody in Belize, bless up.
Alright.
Big up Friday, who you want big up? Big up. Yes man, I will. Just big up Belize man.
Big up Belize.
Yeah, big up the whole village.
Tired of replacing light bulbs? LEDs are what you need. LEDs last up to 30,000 hours. That's 30 times longer than incandescent bulbs, and up to 8 times longer than compact fluorescents. So less changing and less trash. Planet Earth thanks you. And the LED experts at Brothers Habet and Habet will help you find the best LED solution, with colors for every room and mood, starting as low as $6.95. You can even get LED strips for home, office, and industrial use. So say goodbye to fluorescent tubes forever. And because they use up to 90% less energy, you save money. Money you can spend on other things. So head to Brothers Habet or Habet and Habet today. You can also call, email, or Facebook us. Have a brilliant day.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Oh man, one more scroll and my data is done.
Wait, who said anything about running out? Smart just dropped a more powerful plan that now includes social media data so you can scroll till your fingers cramp. Visit any Smart showroom to sign up today because connectivity just got even better. Smart, bringing people together.
Sir, your item is ready for viewing.
Is that all?
This is everything.
Belize introduced its new electronic passport in 2022 through the launch of the Electronic Passport Issuance and Control System, EPICS. The e-passport includes an electronic chip that safeguards the holder's personal information and photograph. It also features a verification mechanism compatible with biometric systems such as smart gates at international borders. The passport's design reflects national pride, showcasing Belizean landmarks and symbols. It incorporates 26 modern security elements to prevent fraud and corruption. The introduction of the e-passport aims to enhance security, improve processing efficiency, and reduce application backlogs, benefiting Belizeans both domestically and abroad. The Ministry of Immigration, strengthening national sovereignty, security, and socio-economic development.
right, welcome back. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. I'm hearing an echo in here. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Still getting it there. All right, I'm good. All right. Let me introduce our guest. Our guest is really our honorable sister, Lucia Ellis. Lucia Ellis is an educator. She's a healer. She's an advocate of cultural retention. She's an author, and she's done so much. And I want to read. Is she on? I don't see it. All right, there she is. All right, welcome, sister. Welcome. Good to see you. Can we jump into our conversation since you've been with us before, and you're hearing me all right?
Yes, I am. Are you hearing me?
Very good, very good. I want us to jump into our conversation because of the fact that you've been here before. You are well known, and I don't need to give you all these accolades. I could read this. It looks like your resume may go on for at least 15 or 20 minutes because you've been doing so much. But so suffice it to say that you are a well-grounded sister who have been working with grassroots as well as higher levels of our society for well over 35, 40 years, and that should be enough credentials. I really wanted to focus on some of what you have been doing lately, and as I said to you in the brief back and forth that we had in text, that we are still having a serious issue with our boys. And I know that you wrote, for example, the first manual for high school counselors. Many people don't know that that contribution has been a great reward for those who are in high schools now who are counseling these young men and young women. But Lucia, the issue that is affecting us is, what is the challenge that we have getting through to our boys, particularly, when we are seeing so many of them that are falling through the cracks? And they are right there in the high school, they are right there where as teachers and as counselors, we're seeing the problem. But what is it that we are not doing to get through to stem the tide of so many of them going off of the track? I hope I'm not throwing too much on you immediately, but I think you're qualified.
It's a tall order indeed. However, number one, we are not to give up on them. Okay, this is one of the situations. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me, Brother Nuri?
Not hearing me. Yeah, a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Okay, one of the things.
Okay, that's more clear.
Yes, one of the things that we have to start out with is that we are not to give up on our children. All right, that's number one. Before I continue, I really want to applaud a lot of our teachers and parents who have persevered and keep pulling the reins in and doing their best for their children, especially their boy children, given the circumstances. I see parents putting in extra effort now to nurture boy children. Unlike before, there was a culture of leaving boys on their own. You're the boy, so you could do this. You can take care of yourself. Now, given the writing on the wall, parents are becoming more in tune and more sensitive and making effort to rein in their boy children. Okay, and that's very positive. What I also observe too is the support that children need. I'm working with families in my village, and the few mothers, they bend over backwards to protect and to guide and to nurture. The boys are moving along with them, as much as they can. So there are efforts being made, which is positive. On the other side, though, is given the economics, it is difficult to sustain that kind of nurturing, because the mother has to go to work, she has to do her chores at home, she has to try to stretch the dollar and make ends meet. So it's a double burden on parents. And I say mothers because mothers are the ones that I interact with more than with fathers. That's not to say that they are not doing their part. But I would need to do more research on that aspect. Now, one of the things that I want us to talk about, Brother Nuri, is how do we build that resilience in our children? Because hard times come to everybody. You and I we experienced hard knocks.
Yeah.
But what is it that made us resilient, made us bounce back so that we could become fairly successful people in society, right? Support is one of them. Support is very important, not just from parents, from the community, from teachers. I've had the joy of talking with some principals over the past few months, some teachers, and the things that they have done for the children, especially in Belize City, when the children have to go through, navigate their way through neighborhoods that are very difficult and violent. The teachers escort these children home to and from school. They do that, right? So that is a kind of
support,
extra effort that we are talking about that is needed at this time. Now, how can we sustain that?
Yeah.
How can we sustain that?
It's almost trying to make the idea of village raising a child a reality, but it's such an easy cliche, but a hard reality to make happen. And
exactly.
I could imagine a teacher having to take care of her own children and then still trying to go into the neighborhood to escort children to school, back and forth to school. That's I mean, that's what it means that the village raises a child, but how do you maintain that? How do you sustain that over a long period of time,
Exactly. So how do we sustain that? Each person, each individual in the neighborhood needs to see themselves as part of the village.
Yeah.
And you need to feel that you have a role to play and you can make a difference.
Well, I know that you live out in the village, so it may not be that hard to conceptualize that within an environment of a couple of hundred people. But how do you do that in an environment like Belize City, we are already so divided?
Yes, it is complicated. However, there were efforts years ago with Neighborhood Watch, neighborhood groups, community policing. That was very relevant in urban areas like Belize City. It applied when I was working at Sacred Heart College in San Ignacio area. We had that community networking. So these are things that we really need to bring back.
And
and that would,
I don't know if you know that yesterday we had our brother Jerry Enriquez here talking about mindfulness and how that technique is so useful in so many ways, at an individual level, but also on a community level. But the challenge, and we were talking about how that skill could be incorporated as one of the tools, if I could use that term, to address the issue of mental health. But the challenge was, how do you train the trainers to be able to get engaged and do that? And he spoke about training teachers, etc., and doing that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I listened briefly, and I agree. Train teachers, but also our media is very useful. If we bombard clips, on media, we do it for dengue, we do it for COVID and all of those things. We can do positive messages on the media so that it can become internalized, right? The songs, clean up your environment, that has taken hold. Children sing it and they are become in tune with what that means, So we can train the trainer, but we can also impact on the psyche by giving these messages. Repeat, and it will take hold.
It's amazing that you say that, because that's one of the things that we left. We didn't talk about it on the air, but as he was leaving, as he was exiting yesterday, I invited him and told him I would speak to Mose Hyde and see if he could do some, maybe a little 10-minute clips that we would insert throughout the day, so that you get this constant reinforcement of this message, not in a long lecture kind of way, but just these little 5-10 minute things. So I will discuss it and see whether or not that can become incorporated here at on XTV. Lucia, let me take a break. We'll come right back and we'll continue our conversation. All right, good.
Get ready for back to school with Benny's B-Bucks. We have limited edition Benny's exercise and composition books just in time for the new school year. Get 6 composition books for 5 B-Bucks and 12 exercise books for only 2 B-Bucks. Benny's and B-Bucks, getting you ready for back to school.
We are ready for back to school. Are you?
Here's how to access your contribution history on the My Social Security portal. First, go to your browser and type ssbportal.org.bz. Enter your email and password, then click Log In. Once logged in, you'll see your full portal account on the screen. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a drop-down menu for added features. Click on History. Choose Contributions. Read the disclaimer, then click Continue. You'll now see a full window displaying your contribution history. In the table, each row represents a different year. For example, let's look at the year 2024. Click on the row and a detailed breakdown will appear. This breakdown includes your employer's name, your earnings for each month and week, contribution type, the amounts paid, and that's how you can explore the new contribution feature on the My Social Security portal. It's quick, easy, and keeps your Social Security information right at your fingertips. Create your account today.
Whether you are a busy person or stuck in traffic or having an adverse or very demanding circumstance, tension builds up, causing you to be stressed out. Stress attacks everyone, anytime, any age. And stress is a killer. Palm City? It's best to be alive than dead. So visit Freetown Drugstore to get options to relieve stress and to relax your mind.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you today?
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, I'm saying I help you right now. When I this daily, for 10 days, I am good after that, okay?
Okay.
Freetown Drugstore, 28 Freetown Road, where you are better off alive than dead. Freetown Drugstore, telephone 223-2876.
Planning a trip to Belize? Here's how to complete your I Declare Arrival form in 5 easy steps. Step 1. Visit belizetravel.immigration.gov.bz. Step 2. Select the appropriate forms for arrivals. Choose Arriving to Belize. Step 3. Provide your origin trip details, including your departure airport and country of residence. Step 4. Carefully complete the immigration form. Add dependents if necessary. Declare baggage, currency, and merchandise, and confirm your entries are correct. Step 5. Download your completed form and take a screenshot of your QR code and reference ID to present to the immigration officer. Thank you for using Belize iTravel. Safe journey.
Our banknotes are changing, but why did we update them? The central bank continuously assesses the integrity of our banknotes to maintain quality and security. The old series of banknotes has been in circulation for more than the recommended lifespan, which is 7 to 10 years. The new banknotes integrate enhanced security measures to combat counterfeiting, making transactions safer for everyone, giving you the confidence that your money is safe and authentic. Our money should be as strong and secure as our economy, and the new banknotes reflect that commitment. New look, same value, more secure. Learn more at www.centralbank.org.bz. A message from the Central Bank of Belize.
All right, welcome back. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. We're in a conversation with our guest this morning. She's Lucia Ellis. She is a Garifuna cultural leader. She's a wellness advocate. And she wrote the first and still being used school counselor's manual. And she has a long experience in working with children and families. She's been a promoter of a back to nature approach to health. She promotes breastfeeding, midwifery, etc., etc. So I'll try not to get into your long resume, sister, but I can't allow some of these things to pass without making sure that people know that you're not speaking just off the top of your head, but from a long years of experience. We were talking about boys and the challenges that we have with boys, not because we don't have challenges with our young females, but with our boys, it has, in the minds of some of us, it has become a near endangered species. I'll be very, very frank with you. And this has a lot to do with numbers. When you recognize the smallness of the population, we're only 23% of the population of this country. We have the largest percentage in the prison, and we have the largest percentage of individuals that are dying as a result of gang violence, youth violence. And so in another framework, sociologists would refer to this as youth in crisis. Some would even go as far as to say an endangered species. So it's not that girls are not having issues, but it is that our boys have now come to the point where they are in need of direct and important attention, almost like how we do with manatee and jaguar and all these things. We need to see how serious this problem is with our boys. So this is why we're weighing on you, Sister Ellis, because we know that it's not only coming from love, but it's coming from years of experience that you have in dealing with this challenging situation. So despite the poverty Because that's usually when we analyze the problem that our boys are having. This is one of the first things we go back to. We're impoverished. We poor. And so therefore what follows as a result of that is all these statistics that come as a result of that. However, you live in a village area, and so you're looking at economic situations of people who would fall into the category of poor. So is it just poverty that creates these problems that we're dealing with? Or is it how we who are in poverty are dealing with our situation to make sure that our boys don't fall through the cracks? Can you make that distinction? Because I don't like people just say, oh, well, we expect we're poor. We're supposed to have them bad statistics, how we're poor. But then there are some people who are poor, but they don't have those statistics. So can you comment on that?
Yes, Brother Nuri, good, important point. This is a very sensitive issue, and we also look at the reality that it is intentional. The destruction of our males is intentional. All right. You have had different persons speak to that, and we need to see that what is happening is that we are at war. Okay, we are at war for the minds of the person, the males who would be the leaders. They would be the ones to protect the family, to protect our society. So when we see this happening to young people who were going along very well, and next thing they are exposed to these destructive activities, it is not by accident. Okay, it is intentional.
You mean there's a master plan?
There's a master plan. It might sound like a conspiracy theory.
No, not at all.
The writing is there on the wall. So we have to be aggressive in terms of reining in our children, boys and girls, so that they are not destroyed. We are at risk as a people, black people, we're at risk. So the boys, if we take out the boys who are unable to evolve as leaders and to protect, then who will we turn to as females? Who do we look to? Who do we look to? It is a repeat of the neo-colonial mindset, the colonial mindset. Okay? So I see the big picture, but it's just one person, and if all of us, I mean, I might be attacked for this, but we all need to consciously realize that we are in a war. And it is not about guns. We have to take it at a spiritual level. All right? We need to take it at a spiritual level. How many parents cover their children with prayer as they wake up? You know, how many of us do that? We have to shield them so that they don't become victims to this ensnarement that is happening. All right? I don't know what you have to say about that.
No, I you know, as you're saying that, you see, what comes to mind again, there is a war. And while we see physical manifestation of this war, for example, in the Gaza, in the Sudan, and some of these other areas that we see blood dripping to the earth, there is also another war
Yes.
It is this war of the mind, the war of direction, the war of dispositions, the war of which is known as a spiritual war. Really, it's how you think and how you behave. So then I ask you, how do you advise people to cultivate in them a spiritual space so that they feel comfortable in praying with and over their children, as you speak of in the mornings? Because we've become so materially based that even our prayers become 1 2-minute drops to my knee and a 1 2 3, and then because I'm so engaged in this material survival that the spiritual space is so it almost becomes as physicalized as other aspects of my life. So how do you teach persons who listen to you how to cultivate that quiet, that internal spiritual space that they can pass on to their children to deal with, to navigate when they're in conflicts?
Right. I think whatever faith we belong to, there's a component of prayer, right? And there's a component of communicating with a force that is higher than ourselves, that can give us the reinforcement that we need. Okay? Now, we need to tap into that. It's not just a Sunday event. It's not a Sabbath event. It is every moment of our lives. We need to be in prayer. Communicating with you right now is an opportunity for enlightenment for myself, and communicating with your listening audience is also an opportunity. And before I came on air, that was my reflection. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Those are not light words. Whenever you communicate with anybody, any being, any human being, it has to be with that intention, right? To make good, to nurture, to uplift, all right? Believe, you see me very colorful today. Red, there's lots of red. Today is a day of the deity of Shango, right? So we need to come out with a fierceness, with the fire in us to attack, but not fight, because we don't have the guns and the bombs, but attack from our heart. And I have, in my studies, the thought process is awesome. Whatever you think, whatever we believe, whatever we project, it can happen. So as the mindfulness, going back to the mindfulness that was shared yesterday, we need to look at where mind and our thought processes are at. Have we given up? Have we decided that, it is only me, it's only about me? Or are we thinking community?
Yeah.
Right?
But Lucy, as you're saying that, and I want you to continue that thought, but it comes to mind that we don't communicate with each other sufficiently. Maybe women have it a little bit better because they can get together. Just from my experience, women seem to be better at this than men. Whereas we as men don't talk about internal things. We don't talk about the soft part. We only talk about the hard part. And so we are always ego flexing with each other, even in the kindest way. We don't want to show no kind of weakness. We don't want, as a man, show no kind of vulnerability. And so therefore we go around as though we're problemless. When we walk around with a lot of problem, which could many times be minimized if we talk to each other and we find out, well, you got the same kind of problem that I got. So my problem, I know so big, my problem, that one normal problem. But we don't get there because we don't want to show that part there, because that part in our culture means that we're weak. So
Yes.
Are you agreeing with me on that? Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on that. And I think that's where the dynamics between male and female comes in. Because if we have the mindset that, oh, you're the man and you're okay, and so we will not be in tune to the fragile nature of our male, that you need to be sensitive towards them. We need to understand and listen to their point of view, okay? And vice versa. Just as we want to be listened to, a male wants to be listened to as well. But how often are we willing to do that? You know? And so it starts from what are we willing to do as human beings so that this relationship can be modeled to the next generation. Right? I have here in front of me, this children learn what they live. Right? You may be familiar with that poem, or it is also
it's a powerful
expressed
poem.
in song as well.
Can you share some of it? Can you share some of it?
Yes. If a child lives with criticism, they learn to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, they learn to fight. If a child lives with fear, they learn to be apprehensive. If a child lives with ridicule, they learn to be shy. If a child lives with jealousy, they learn to feel guilty. If a child lives with encouragement, they learn to be confident. If a child lives with praise, they learn to appreciate. If a child lives with approval, they learn to find love in the world. If a child lives with serenity, they learn to have a peace of mind. And there are a couple others, you know. These are messages that we need to keep in mind when we are raising our children.
Yeah, indeed.
You know,
our children is a
environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are responsible for creating the environment of our children.
Exactly.
And sometimes we can't even create our own environment to live in, because some of those things that we are not to do to the child, we're doing to ourselves. We live like perpetually criticizing ourselves, so we get the result of that criticism likewise. Listen now, let me take the next break and I'll come back, and then we'll open the phone lines. And another area I want us to touch is an interesting area that you've been dealing with, and that is the issue of death. So when we come back, we'll also go into that area.
Okay.
every moment matter with your credit card. More transactions, more chances to win cash back. You can be one of 4 monthly winners. Get a chance to win cash back with every purchase of $100 or more. For more information, visit www.atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Josetón presenta Los Cumbia Kings.
Mi dulce niña, tú me fascinas.
Los Cumbia Kings en concierto.
Sabes a chocolate.
Este 30 de agosto en el Estadio del Pueblo, Orange World Belice. Los Cumbia Kings en vivo.
No tengo dinero ni nada que dar.
No te pierdas el concierto del año que te hará bailar como nunca. General 150, VIP 200 y Platino $350. Boletos a la venta en la aplicación Quipass, disponible en Android y iPhone. También con Orindrag con cuellos, Shell One Stop, María's Café, Lifestyle Beauty Salon y WSK Call Center al 611-3677. Amor Turquesa, Boutique Belmopá. Gracias al patrocinio de
BTV, Mechas, Cuellos, Lock and Loaded, Mark Production, Quick Pass, Lighthouse,
Instituto Nacional de Cultura e Historia y Smart Belice.
Welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Friday morning and we have an interesting guest. Yeah, this is a good Friday morning conversation. We could reflect on some of your perspectives over this weekend. We'll open the phone lines now at 280-5848, 280-5848. But along the lines of our spiritual cultivation of that space that we were talking about, a lot of us look at this kind of conversation as useless and unnecessary, and we wanted to talk about because this is the real world. We don't need to know spirit and all that kind of thing there. We got a lot of people that think exactly like that, Lucia. But there are people that are recognizing that something is wrong. And some of them are even already religious people and trying to figure out in their own faith, why is it that they still feel discombobulated? I mean, I believe in a God, so how come I still feel off balance? What's going on? And this is sometimes the reason why people hop from religion to religion, because they're really looking for a space. And they're thinking that if a particular religion will provide for them the space, not understanding that they got to do that search themselves, regardless to which faith that they are involved in. So I'd like you to continue what you were saying before the break, in terms of us finding and owning that space. And your space, Lucia, will not be like my space. And my space will not be like somebody else's space either. So how do we find that individual quiet? Of course, this is a continuation of what we were talking about yesterday in terms of this mindfulness that Jerry was talking about. So let's continue along that line. How do I find my own space, spiritual space?
This is one of my favorite conversations. This is one of my favorite conversations, you know, that we are gods and goddesses. Okay? So believing that it is within us. Most of the time we look externally for that. Okay? We look external from ourselves to find that peace, but it is within us. And we need to tap into our inner knowing of who we are, right? Self-awareness, being positive, knowing that whatever negative, quote unquote, experiences that we have are lessons for us to grow, all right? And also that what we have created the environment, all right? If we accept that we have created the environment that we are in, then just as how we have created it, we can make it better through our own thought process. I've known impoverished people, and they said that I am not going to live like this forever. And with that mindset, slowly, you see them begin to flourish, right? But you have to have it in your mind. You don't accept that this is your lot, all right? So we have that ability to make a difference in our lives. But how many of us are taught that? How many of us have been exposed to that way of thinking? There's a difference, Brother Nuri, between religion and spirituality. Religion entraps you and makes you believe that something out there is going to make you a better person. Not to say that the support from the religious community is not helpful, but you of your own sensitivity and your own knowing needs be the main part of that. Okay? So it goes back to my discussion about resilience. I have seen young people struggle. They struggle and they know that things can be better. And they need the support, they need the encouragement, they need the affirmation that yes, you can do it. And they just, that little nudge, that little push, and they cross the hurdles that the blockages that they are facing. But if they know instinctively, if they didn't have it in them, it wouldn't happen. So for some reason, a generation of children have been denied that sense of empowerment. At what stage? We need to go back and track. At what point did each child that is falling through the cracks, as you say, at what point did they get the feeling that I can't do better? I have to go down this road that will crash eventually. That will destroy me eventually. At what point did they get that message? And we need to look at that, Brother Nuri.
Yeah. Let me go into an area again, Lucia, that we don't like to trod, but I know you have some experience here. And that is suicidal thoughts and how some people come to that point where they believe that there is no way out. And so they seek to end their life instantly by suicide, or take an attitude of prolonged suicide, meaning that they don't care whatever happened, they do anything, they drink anything, smoke anything, take anything, they have given up. Even though you tell them the direction you to go, want to kill you, they don't care. So that's another form of suicide. And then there is the instant suicide. So how do you deal in your encounter with individuals who reach that point that they feel like they cannot go any further?
Yes, suicide is a situation that we really, in some cases, we cannot prevent, but we can see the signs. If we are, again, that connection, we can see the signs. I've known of young people who have committed suicide, and their parents and family tried everything possible because they saw the signs, and they tried everything possible to prevent it, being present 24/7.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
It's hard to come out. Sometimes people they sink so deep that it's difficult for them to come out, and to redeem them. Okay, so that's one group. So I'm not saying that all suicides can be prevented. I don't want to get away with that, for people to leave with that notion. However, there are some signals. Number one, if somebody says, I am going to kill myself, you take it seriously. Even if you think they're joking, it is to be taken seriously. And there are questions that can be asked. There are engagement that can happen with them for you to determine whether they are at risk or it's just frustration coming out. Okay? Just frustration being expressed. That is another dialogue by itself. Okay? However, the as being in an environment of someone who has committed suicide is a very painful one for those living, because you keep wondering, what could I have done to prevent it?
Yeah.
Right?
I have the
that is.
I'm sorry, Alicia. I have the first call for you, and I don't want to. So please hold that thought. Yeah, welcome, caller.
Sure.
Welcome.
Nuri.
Yes, welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. Are you hearing our guests?
No.
Oh man, I wanted you to participate in this interesting conversation, Kalimo.
What's the conversation about, sir?
I can't give you a complete rundown like that. You know, we've been talking with Miss Ellis for the last hour. I can't give you that background.
No, I never. I mean, your commercial was too long, man. I don't know.
I see. All right. Well, no, but you call, and I gotta respect your call. So go ahead and make your point.
Nuri, I promise I'm not going all over the place.
All right. Just know that I got a guest. That's all.
Yes, Brother Nuri.
Right.
Brother Nuri, this week we celebrated Emancipation Day.
Yes.
Brother Nuri, the older I get, the more I understand the meaning of the word crabs in a bucket. Hundreds, thousands of us, the people who were freed, black people, that out down a party and celebrate the fact that that was the day they freed us. You notice for this 13th Amendment, the day they want to take away freedom, Lord, away the old days and the thousands, even the hundreds, even the, let's say, the tens, because the you know, and I watch how we went out there and we celebrate and we party, and I ask myself, why when there's something more important we don't go? You understand me? And why we oh well, you know, I know if I go that now I mean nothing, and we left ourselves to be victims. You understand me? Also this week the money rolls out. Brother Nuri, I wonder what is wrong when for the first time we could say we're independent, we have our own money. Brother Nuri, if you listen and you watch TikTok reels and the Facebook stories, my God, it's like we hate ourselves, Brother Nuri. I personally have no problem. I kind of had a problem that we never consult. And I think that we could have find 6 people to put money. Don't only 2, but I live with that. But to hear how sad we saw when we have we own people money, man, Brother Nuri, make you wonder about your people, man. You know, this is ours. Well, you know, John Price, whether you like him or not, will go down in history as the father of the nation. You can't take that away from the man. You understand me? You have to give credit where credit is due. And I don't know about this cancer thing. I don't understand why we can't love we. And that is one of the reasons why we can't advance. Because whenever it's about us, we bring it down, we block it down, we bash it, we mash it. But if there be somebody else, oh, Brandy, you understand me? Anyway, Brother Nuri, that was my upsetness for this week. I couldn't make the week done and not get it out of my chest.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Thank you, Brother Nuri.
Thank you. All right. Take the next break and we'll be right back.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Use B-Bucks to purchase items at any Benny's location. Spend B-Bucks on items in-store after you have earned them. You can gift or transfer B-Bucks to another B-Bucks member or registered charity. To learn more, visit our website at www.bbucks.bz. Remember, loyalty is always rewarding with B-Bucks. Brought to you by Benny's. Quality and savings.
Here's how to access your contribution history on the My Social Security portal. First, go to your browser and type ssbportal.org.bz. Enter your email and password, then click Log In. Once logged in, you'll see your full portal account on the screen. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a drop-down menu for added features. Click on History. Choose Contributions. Read the disclaimer, then click Continue. You'll now see a full window displaying your contribution history. In the table, each row represents a different year. For example, let's look at the year 2024. Click on the row and a detailed breakdown will appear. This breakdown includes your employer's name, your earnings for each month and week, contribution type, the amounts paid, and that's how you can explore the new contribution feature on the My Social Security portal. It's quick, easy, and keeps your Social Security information right at your fingertips. Create your account today.
Nuestros billetes están cambiando, pero ¿por qué los actualizamos? El Banco Central evalúa continuamente la integridad de nuestros billetes para mantener la calidad y la seguridad. La serie anterior de billetes han estado en circulación por más del tiempo de vida recomendado, que es de 7 a 10 años. Los nuevos billetes integran medidas de seguridad mejoradas para combatir la falsificación, haciendo las transacciones más seguras para todos, dándoles la confianza de que su dinero es seguro y auténtico. Nuestro dinero debe ser tan fuerte como nuestra economía. Y los nuevos billetes reflejan ese compromiso. Nueva imagen, mismo valor, más seguros. Para obtener más información, visite www.centralbank.org.bz. Un comunicado del Banco Central de Belice.
All right, welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize, Morning Vibes, a Friday morning. Our honored guest is Lucia Ellis, and she's been giving us a wide range of responses to issues that affects us on a daily basis, human issues. She has not delved into politics or world affairs or any of those issues of economy, etc. She's dealt with dealing with the human issues that we deal with every day. And when we went to the break, she was sharing with us about responding to suicidal thoughts that people come to you with and how to respond to that. Lucia, if you'd like to further any thoughts on that subject before I move to another area before we close our conversation this morning, would you like to say anything else on the issue of suicides?
I just wanted to add that suicide is a tragedy. That's one thing we need to be aware of. And those who stay behind have to live with the guilt and at some point make peace with the fact that it was a choice that that person made. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not easy, but we need to make peace with it. And you made the point about suicide, self-destructive behavior being a form of suicide. Alcoholism, drugs, reckless driving, motorcyclists, and all of these, in my mind, are suicidal because I've watched young on on the highway in front of me here. They raise the motorcycle on one wheel and they go down the road at nerve-wracking speed, knowing that they don't have control. They think they have control, but they don't. And so, what is it that Evel Knievel, you're familiar with that character, right?
Very much.
The devil attitude. What is it? So it is, in my mind, thinking about youth, they need to do things that are risky. That's part of their nature. So how do we create an environment where they can expend that energy in a way that is not so risky? Across the bridge from where I live, the Mennonites are on the other side. They have created tracks where the youth can go on these tracks that are sandy and do all of those crazy things, and it's under control, so they can vent and release that extra.
So they've given him some space to release their madness.
They give him the space.
Can I? We have another call here. We have another call. Welcome, caller.
Yes, assalamu alaikum once again, Brother Nuri.
Yes, sir. Wa alaikum assalam.
I just want to give my 2 cents in my little knowledge, which is a drop of water in the ocean. That's the size of my knowledge. I want to thank the lady for such valuable information and exchange. In this world, each one teach one. I am the opinion that many of our mistakes as parents, maybe not all parents, but many of them do. We believe that children are raised by material things. And this go like, for instance, you have children at home in Belize, but the parents are abroad, and they believe that as long as I send a bicycle, as long as I send money, that's all. But to me, it's not like that. Because I read the books of a very, very good, interesting Afro-American lecturer by the name Kawansa Kunjufo, How to Raise the Black Boys. He's a professor at University of Illinois, and he says that the most important thing that children need is the presence of the parent. Material things come secondary. I notice people, as long as the child have a tablet, they don't worry about him. Oh, hey, don't get a tablet, so make it. No. We need to get involved, as alhamdulillah many of us did. I alhamdulillah did produce 2 sons, 1 daughter, and I don't have to worry about them because during that time I was involved. I'll give up my outside traveling for stay with them, and that work alhamdulillah. Salam alaikum.
All right, brother. Wa alaikum assalam. All right. We'll continue along your lines, sister. But I did open the lines, so we have to take the calls as they come in. But please proceed.
No, but the caller made a valuable point. parental presence or even adult presence.
Mm.
Adults with good intentions, because not all adults have good intentions for children.
That's
okay,
right.
so we have to screen who our children are around
Yeah.
and who will enlighten them. Yes.
Here's another area that I want, and we could use this as our closing point this morning. You've also talked about the indigenous perspective of death, and I'd like you to elaborate on that because I've never heard it put in that form. What do you mean when you talk about the indigenous perspective of death compared to how we normally perceive death in this environment that we live?
Yes, thank you for that question, Brother Nuri. Death is a part of the cycle of life. It's a cycle, right? The butterfly goes through its metamorphosis and eventually dies. All creatures die, and they before they die, they may have the good fortune of reproducing to continue their own kind, right? But so death is in the indigenous context is seen as a cycle, so that the acceptance of death is accepted. It's not, yes, we grieve the loss, but it's not as, like we are being deprived. We are hearing now the celebration of the life of somebody, right? So in Garifuna culture, what we do, there are different tiers of celebrating death. If the person has been sick over the years, over a time, and it is expected, then we go through the rituals and prayers and the wake and all of that. And there's drumming to celebrate the life of the person. There's dancing. And at the same time, we have rituals that will appease the soul of that person so that they transition and have a good death, or any buit, as we say. And so there are other rituals, which I will not go into details with, but that help us to cope with the loss, right? Now, if the person died tragically, there is a different way of dealing with that death. In some cases, the grieving process is extended because it's a shock. The family is given rituals, baths, and so on to cope with the sudden loss. It's after a period of about a year or so that it is believed that the transition is completed, right? So it is. We have a formula to how to cope with death, which makes it acceptable and also holistic. And after there's an anniversary celebrating the death. That's part of our ritual as well. 1 year later, we have a ceremony. Because of the Catholic or the religious part, it is blended with a mass or a church service, and that helps with the coming to terms with, okay, this person is no longer with us over a year. We also have formulas and rituals for grieving widows or spouses, okay? So all of this is part of the acceptance that these things will happen, okay? Whereas in mainstream, in the religion, in the different faiths, we bury the dead, and you are left, the family may not have a support system. I come with that word again, a support. So how to cope with the loss of that individual from the space, okay? So death for me is a very important consideration when we talk about community. You know, we need to have community around us whenever we have a loss, because it's not just this family's loss, it's a loss. This is a loss to the whole community, you know? So it is raised in that way.
All right. We've covered a very broad spectrum this morning, Sister Lucia, but all of it consistent with our theme, which is looking at how do we cope with some of the challenges that we face on a regular basis, on a communal basis, as well as individually. And we appreciate the input that you gave us and insight that you gave us this morning. And I think one of the things that I draw from you overall is it is not a one size that fits all. It's a finding the basic principles that will work under all circumstances, but accept the diversity or the difference in your own effort and making sure that you're consistent. So that is very good. Let me give you a last 30 seconds to make your final statement, and then we will conclude from there.
Well, Brother Nuri, I thank you for this opportunity. There's a lot to be said. There's a lot to share. Whenever we lose a young person, especially tragically to death, it is a loss of our human capital. So whatever we can do to prevent, that would be in the economic favorable to the economy of our country. Some brilliant minds have been lost over the years, tragically. So we really have to do our best to create the environment where we will all have a sense of purpose and do things that are harmonious so that we are not distracted and that we can have a long life. We need to live longer than we are living, right? We need to reclaim the God and the Goddess in us so that we can make the contributions that we were brought to this physical plane to contribute. I thank you so much, and I welcome another opportunity in the not too distant future.
Well, there will be more opportunities, Sister. We need conversations like this so that people could think through and compare what you're saying with their own personal reality. So thank you very much this morning, Sister Lucia Ellis. And we look forward to being with you again soon. Thank you. And now, for those of you who have been with us for the entire 2 hours this morning, we appreciate the 2.5 hours this morning. We hope that you'll be back here again on Monday morning, where we'll continue the conversation. And we have people that we have to thank for this morning's broadcast. Downstairs we have Anthony Grant. Thank you very much, Tonio. Upstairs we had Christy Flowers as our MCO, and also Brother Harlan Wagner was our all-around manager today. And we had a visit from my brother, Clifton Lewis. We appreciate his dropping in on us this morning, and it's good to see his face. All right, Belizeans, stand strong and stand firm, man. Do the right thing. And for now, we gone!
This is a show, my people. this reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to obey. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up.